The Leafs are up in Gravenhurst. You see William Nylander back on right wing today. William Nylander, after all that, 2 weeks of experimenting, they don't even get to the regular season.
So
and Willie's
I don't know what it's about.
Who's the center? Like, where's
Fraser Minten is the guy that it sounds like has the inside track. Because Keefe was asked about Minten. And, does he have a chance of making it? And Keefe basically said, if you're still here, you have a chance to make it.
Okay, well, hold on a second here. Bobby McMahon, Kampf, and Reeves is not your third line.
That's your fourth line.
That's your fourth line.
The third line would be Minten with Yarncroke and Nyes. That's who skated today. Again, you're still a week away. They don't have to make any proclamations or announcements.
Whoever did that lineup, Joe from the Bridge, switch those lines. Like, switch them. Just for my visual pleasure.
Right. But, listen, I don't know if Bobby McMahon's making the team for sure, but Kampf and Reeves are making the team. Yarncroke and Nyes, I think, are making the team. The question is, does McMahon make it? Does Minten make it?
I think Gregor makes it.
Gregor
makes it over McMahon for me right now.
Yeah.
Is Yarncroke, where's his status at?
He's, I think, skating again. And Sam Lafferty's going to make the team. He's got a guaranteed contract. He's a vet. He's playing. But I think and Keefe just said, listen, it's about moving things around. It doesn't mean that Nylander won't go back to the middle of the ice at some point in camp. But I've been very impressed by Fraser Minten. I think he's played very well. He looks like he's a mature 19-year-old. Keefe pointed out he put him up against Doc. He put him up against Suzuki. He wanted to test him in Montreal, and he thought he did well.
Yeah.
Dude, they're just saying
but he's 19.
It's awfully difficult.
Or maybe he does, but...
And we talked about it with all three of those kids. Nyes has been unbelievable. He's going to make the team. The kid's going to go back to London. If is he already
Easton
back there?
Cowan. No, he's still there. He's not in Gravenhurst for some reason, but he's still technically with the team. But I think he will go back to London probably
So
this
they're
weekend.
basically saying to both of these kids, like, if it was a competition, like who played the best, Fraser Minten would be on the team because he's played better than other guys. But it's just with contract stuff and his age, he's still most likely going back to junior. But maybe they're sitting there watching this guy saying, he's been so good. Maybe he's just ready to play. Who knows?
I
think it's unlikely it's going to happen, but they've been so impressed. They're just probably looking at him saying, God, we got to give this guy another game. Maybe he's ready to play.
Well, which is fine. And you know what? If you play well at training camp and you're earning a spot, or at least like, hey, another look, good on you. Like this is a positive thing to have as young players pushing through, because that's what organizations are dying for. Young guy on an entry-level deal, pushing out a guy so that you can also manage your cap, but it also cycle through players. Like this
Noodles,
is
how many times have you seen a guy 2 days in camp, just look at him and you're like, this guy is just no way. In 2 days, it's like go back to junior.
You know what concerns me on that list? Was Nick Robertson on that list?
I did not see him on that list.
I didn't see him on that list either. Like that's the guy that I start to circle and go, what year is this in the organization from? Now, COVID, injuries have put it back.
It's 3 or 4 at least.
So, that's the guy who, if he's on the cusp and hasn't stolen a spot or pushed somebody out, that concerns me because you can go down and...
He is waiver exempt still.
Right, so you can go down, you can play and battle. So, it says extras, Robertson, Clifford, absent Klingberg.
Right.
So Robertson and Clifford.
I'm not sure. I don't think Robertson's going to make the team unless there's injuries. I don't think that's going to happen. But if Nylander goes back to the wing, there are two people that are possibly three. I think Willie might be very happy about that too. He's comfortable on the wing. He had a career year last year. John Tavares will be ecstatic, and if Max Domi has a chance to play with them, he will be ecstatic because he's on a 1-year deal. He's obviously new to the team. He's familiar with the team, with the city, and he understands the platform and the spotlight he's got. And lines are subject to change, especially with Sheldon Keefe, the way he coaches. But if Domi gets a chance to start his Maple Leaf career with Tavares and Nylander, you cannot ask for anything better than that.
Yeah.
Like he and Bertuzzi. If Bertuzzi's playing with Matthews and Marner and Domi's playing with Tavares and Nylander, those two guys, that's why they came here. That's why they signed the 1-year deals, because they wanted that opportunity, and it's on them to take advantage of it.
Absolutely. Joe, leave that board up there. And I think Hayes and Noodles, if you ask the coach, like if he had to make a decision for opening day and there was kind of a must-win game in the future, and you ask Sheldon Keefe, who would you rather put in the lineup like tomorrow, Like, is it Noah Gregor or Fraser Minten or Nick Robertson or Clifford or Bobby McMahon or Lafferty? It's probably Fraser Minten because he's just played that well. I think if you ask the coach, he would say, I probably want that guy in my lineup. I could trust him more, and he could do more for me to help me win a game as of right now.
Well, I mean, what will be challenged here, and every team's got to deal with it, especially competitive teams with cup aspirations, is how do you balance what's in the best interest for the team and what's in the best interest for the player?
Right.
Because if Nylander's going to the right wing, they're thin up the middle of the ice. Like, they have three guys they love, clearly. They love Matthews, they love Tavares, and they love Camp as a fourth liner.
Right.
But who else is there that can play up the middle of the ice? Domi can.
That's
Nylander
the only the
can.
player solves.
Nylander
The player
can.
answers the question for you. Fraser Minten would answer that question for you by continued good play. It's just right. I keep going back to the kid in Dallas. Like, that kid looked like a junior hockey player, Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah.
And it's like they must have been saying, "Oh, I got to send," and they watching him playing like, we can't get rid of this guy.
Yeah. Well,
he's got to play.
Hopefully, it kills two birds with one stone. If it happens,
the only thing
where
is,
they need someone up the middle of the ice, but he's got to be ready, and
that's
he can hit the ground running.
And he can't play. Like, Minten can't make the team.
He can play 9 games and then go back.
No, but what I'm saying is, and play 9 minutes. That's not good for his development. You can do that for 6, 7, up to 8, 9 games. Mm-hmm. But you have to do what's best for this kid overall. You're right. If
well,
he
guess
makes
what?
the team,
tomorrow night, play him 17. See what he does.
Yeah. But
he's not going to be. He's not a number 1 or number 2 center.
That's what I'm saying.
So at most, he's going to play 12 or 13 minutes anyway.
In the end, I think he goes back to junior. But there's no harm in keeping him around and letting him continue to grow and play right now until they go, all right, send him back to junior.
Mm-hmm. Like, or he plays so well, they're like, all right, we're going to keep you. I mean, it's been a while since
send him back
that
to
happened.
Kamloops with a little wire contraption with a little stake out in front of it so he can sniff it and smell it, and he chases it all year. And you say, if you have a good year in Kamloops, you can get the steak.
Yeah,
very simple.
Exactly. If you go back, make that Canadian team, factor into it, have a great year in Kamloops, and we'll see you next year.